Yes, they are. Tracy Mitchell will be first. We need your address. We didn't get it on the form.
Okay, I'll see to it as soon as we can.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here for 2 reasons. Vienna School is on the slate to be closed.
Could you speak into the microphone?
Sorry. My concern was my mom was the primary person to get the cafeteria and the library there built, and you're going to tear something my mom built and worked her butt off to get for the kids at Vienna School. That's upsetting. And I know I don't count for much, but the kids of Vienna deserve to have something she created. You talked of legacies, but that was my mom's legacy for the kids in Vienna, to have a good place to get a nutritious meal and to fill their brains with all the education that our great teachers can do. My second one is the places that Mr. Leach drew on the board last week. I'm concerned about them. I'm concerned that the gas, the water, and the electric are being neglected. I can't tell you how many times in the last 3 months we've had a water main break in the city of Vienna, or how many times in a week, or let alone a day, that we have power surges. I know if at least 3 or 4 days a week, 3 to 5 times a day, I'm getting power surges. I've had a new circuit breaker put in. I know it's not electrical on my end. It has to be from the city or whoever takes care of those 2 things. You've got Hope Gas working on the side of the street you want to put your amphitheater in. You're wanting to spend nearly $50,000 to upgrade properties in Vienna. And I encourage that. I want that. But not at the cost of the gas, the electric, and the water that the city badly needs. Or at least I need it. You talked about needs. That's a very good need for me. Something that else bothers me about this amphitheater. You've got a 10 o'clock noise control for the city of Vienna. If you put this amphitheater in, what are the acoustics going to be like going up and down the river and across the river to Belpre and Marietta? What happens when you've got a child that's less than a year old that's colicky and you're hearing all this noise from the amphitheater, and that's keeping this baby up as well? I'd like to know what the acoustics are going to be on that. And I'd like to see something in demographics, who and the males or females and the age from 10 to 50 or 60 years old. How many people do you project is going to go to this amphitheater? I can't think of anything I would go for. Are you going to have the kids dictate all this bad music that talks about stuff that I wouldn't tell my mother, and my mom's would be 92. It's just really concerning because I don't know what's going to go in for your public's best interest, and that's concerning for me. I just find it very frustrating that you're tearing down stuff that could be better utilized, like Vienna School or Neal School, which is historic. I don't understand why we have to spend on things that may not be of better utilization. I would love to see the group you've got to maybe talk about other properties in addition to the 4 that Mr. Leach here put on the board. I mean, I would like to see us get the most out of our money, because I'm sorry, I only make $900 a month. And I'm having troubles paying the bills. But you're taking my tax dollars that could be better used in other places. Why can't we get more people into places like Dollar General's had for months up, now hiring? I see that all through Vienna. They're wanting people to come in to hire. And why build stuff if we can't get Vienna's community to get off their butts and go to work? I'm on disability, so I can't go back to work, or I lose what I've got. And I've got as many health issues as anybody else. So, can somebody give me some positive reassurance that coming back to Vienna versus living out in California and Oregon and Washington is better? Which one's going to be better for me? Because I don't have answers. I don't understand why all of a sudden we're trying to push things that I don't see the community doing. I'm sorry, the big bands are gone, and I know most people would listen to that. Or guest speakers. Who wants to be out in an amphitheater with the heat we've had the last 3 to 4 weeks? I can't take the heat. I don't understand.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
We need your address too, please. What is it?
702 31st Street, Vienna.
Before we go any farther in the public forum, I just have to make a comment. Before you all, I'm sorry to see her be so emotional, okay? And there is no plan to tear down Vienna School. So your mother's legacy of the cafeteria and all that, that's not in the plan, all right? That is a fantastic facility with lots of acreage around it that we can use. And so that's not part of the discussion. And if you'll just give the Board of Education time to get up there and make their presentation, I think they will lay out the options that we, as a city and city council, have to decide what's best for the future of the city of Vienna. So I don't want to see you get so upset because that's not on the table. Could it happen? Yes, but it's not part of the discussion now. All right? So just be a little patient until we get through the public forum, and then we'll get to listen to the board make their presentation, okay? All right? So next this evening is Brian Flynn.
Good evening, board. Good evening, council. Sorry, I was at the Board of Education meeting Tuesday night. I first want to say that I originally was going to come up here and complain regarding a leak on 19th Street. I got my questions answered by talking to Craig Metz. There's been a leak on the street for almost a month now. Started out as just a trickle. It's running full force right now. They can't find where the problem is. How's the city going to compensate for the water loss? And it's not, no offense to anybody, it's not 7 gallons a minute or 7 gallons a day or something like that. It's running pretty good. I've got video of it. So if you'd like to see it, I'd be more welcome to show it to you. But I'd just like to say, kudos to the ground crew that went out, worked on it yesterday. They're working on it today. They're coming out 7 a.m. tomorrow to work on it. Traffic is hellacious on 19th. But like I said, my questions were answered before I came up here. Tuesday night, I went to the Board of Education meeting, spoke there. I'm all for the new Vienna school location. I'm all for it. But one thing that needs to be considered, 34th Street is a one-way street up to 11th Avenue. So parents that are dropping their kids off at the school really shouldn't go back over 34th, back by the pool and come back down 34th into 33rd. What they ought to do is go out on Rosemar, and I don't know if that's ever been talked about, but I think that's a good suggestion. Keep the traffic flow moving away from the school. That's it. Thank you.
Brenda Powell.
Good evening, Brenda Powell, live on 31st Street here in Vienna. First of all, before I do anything, could someone tell me how you can zoom in with this?
On the gray knob on the end.
This one here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll do that here in a minute. I hated that I missed a meeting last 2 weeks ago with council of the amphitheater discussion, but I'm here this evening to talk about it. I think the big concern that a lot of people have, just my thoughts on it, is actually what is being talked about, and the size of the amphitheater is really off-putting, I think, for a lot of people. I don't think that's what when it was a discussion and whatnot, what they're looking for, what they want to have, nothing to that degree. But I feel that we need to, as a community, to come together and have a discussion with everything. But I know that you've asked for input from the public. But the problem is, just like with the pool, there was the input for the pool. Nothing was really taken to heart with what the public came forward and discussed and talked, to council about. It's the same thing that it can happen with the amphitheater. The thing is that if you want input, you really have to listen. If you're going to ask for it, you need to listen to what they want. And it is their taxpayers' money. I wanted to show you, I'm not sure whether or not that you can actually see it. Might not be able to. But I'll turn it this way, maybe that'll show it a little better. This is one that's an amphitheater that was built. I don't know whether I can get it to go. It was not going to do it. You might be able to see it without the light shining on it. I don't know. But my thought was,
Adam,
is
turn one set of lights out, please.
Sorry?
Turn the left set of lights out, please.
Okay. This is one that I found online, an amphitheater. And basically what I wanted to bring forward to council is to think about a multi-purpose built amphitheater, something that could be, in this sense, there's a lot of different activities that could be used in this particular setup. I mean, different things, people performing and things of that sort, not always in a music setting. It could be for other things. And so I thought I'd bring this before council to give you an idea that maybe we need to go smaller and think more about, a design that's going to be a multi-purpose thing for our community that can be used for a lot of different things. I could say, for instance, maybe have cloggers come in, dancers, different types of performances and things of that sort. I mean, our schools could even use it, for different things. So it was, it's got a ramp on the back side of it, and it's got stairs that come up on each side. But I thought that would be something to think about. And I wanted to say that Liberty Township trustees, this is located in Licking County, Ohio, Licking. And residents have come before them in complaints of things that they have going on there. And the trustees stated, residents should have the right to govern how their community develops and grows, not politicians whose only goal appears to be grow at all costs. We do need to keep that in consideration, that we want our community to grow, but not at any cost. We're at $8.5 to $8.6 million for the pool. And it is a problem with the fact that pools are known to not make money. And it might not have been that much money, but that's what I had been told, that that's what it was. But anyway, I just think that we need to manage our money well and be able to give our community what they want. Thank you.
Amy Rhodes. It's not actually like the light on the screen.
Oh, is there a way to actually turn this light off without?
I think we'll play the slides and maybe
I don't know the answer.
There is not.
No, okay. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm here to talk about is the Spencer's Landing survey that I did on Facebook. It's still up if anyone wants to go in and complete it. But I wanted to go over the results that we have so far. Right now, we have 246 responses, so that's really good. That's more, I think, than what the city's survey and CEC had. I wanted to go over these just real quickly. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. Of the respondents, 66.5% lived in Vienna, 22.6% in Parkersburg, and if you add Williamstown, the rest of Wood County, and Washington County, that totals to 99.1% of the respondents. Do you see yourself using the park known as Spencer's Landing? 85.9% said yes, 12.1% said not sure, and only 5 respondents said no. How often do you anticipate using it? 55.6% said weekly, 29.4% said monthly. Over here, I'm not going to do these drop-down menus, but there's a lot of people that make comments, such as, if there was a walking trail, I would use it every day, or I plan to use it 2 to 3 times a week, which wasn't an option. So there's a lot of comments in there, and some of them are contingent upon what is at Spencer's Landing, what kind of amenities and what kind of activities. And then the next question, what amenities and activities would you like to see at Spencer's Landing? So the very first one, of course, is restrooms. Next is picnic areas. Then we have high scores on river access, walking and biking, running trails, more shade throughout, farmers markets, and then we have green space, yard game area, arts and crafts and everything. So all of these got a lot of responses because it was multiple choice. People could choose however many they wanted. The next, I did 3 sections. What is your first priority, second priority, and third priority? And those just basically mimicked what was said in the amenities. And I need to actually tease out this data a little bit more because there's a lot of it there. So, but you can see river access, kayak launch, walking trails, playground, boat ramp, farmers market, playgrounds, green space, trees, water access, and that's the same on all 3 of those sections. And then I asked, what type of river access would you like to see? The first was piers with benches and shade for relaxing, and that was 57.1%. A kayak launch was second at 54.2%. A fishing pier was next with 52.5%, and then followed by a dock for tying up and visiting Spencer's Landing, and the last one was a small boat launch. And then I got into the amphitheater. Are you in favor of an amphitheater at Spencer's Landing? So 41.6% said yes, 35.9% said no, and 17.6% said yes. So that's pretty consistent because the CEC survey and the city's survey both showed that the public wants an amphitheater. Again, in this drop-down menu, there's a lot of different things that I need to take out of that and put into another spreadsheet. If yes, what type of amphitheater would you like to see? So a 3,000 to 4,000 seat covered amphitheater with parking, like the city did the RFQ on, was 12.6%. 75.5% of respondents said a flat platform type amphitheater with bring your own chairs, lawn chair seating, and the lawn would become a green space for multi-purpose use when a concert or an event wasn't happening. The next was, would you be willing to pay an admission charge to attend concerts or events? Yes, it was pretty divided between yes, no, and maybe, with no being just a little bit higher at 36% than the other 2. How much would you want to be willing to spend? The vast majority was like 5 to 20%. There were some that was over that, like 20 to 50, 30 to 50, and a couple even said up to $100. But then when I asked if you answered maybe,
Ms. Rhodes,
yes.
your time is up, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Alice Goodwin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alice Goodwin. I live at 710 28th Street. I just have a few things that I want to bring up from our last council meeting, things that I picked up on that for me were important, and they may be important to other people in the room as well. In regards to the Thrasher Group, their qualifications were never in question when they came in. However, they were blindsided because they did exactly what Mr. Leach, in his own words, said that they did exactly what they were asked to do. But because there was no public input prior to them making their presentation and stuff, that's what everybody was upset about. And so this steering committee, which included a council member, a public works department head, a city employee, a utility board member, and Ms. Pearsall from the Wood County Economic Development Office, they all got this committee, went to the Thrasher Group, told them, this is what we want. So the Thrasher Group did exactly what they were asked to do. So they decided what I wanted and what the people of Vienna wanted. And so, and that unfortunately didn't work out quite so well. So I'm looking forward to tonight, hoping to hear how they're going to incorporate the committees to get the public input and stuff that they're going to need, so that we get exactly what it is that Vienna wants, what I want, what you want. The second thing is that the mayor said that 2 years ago he was approached by a large foundation to build this amphitheater, but it had to be done their way or no deal. So why are we just now finding out about this 2 years? Why did we not learn about it 2 years ago? Did the council know about this 2 years ago? To make things even worse, the mayor said there are things in government that you just don't talk about. I get the fact that the foundation or the benefactor, whichever you want to use, wants to remain anonymous. I do not have an issue with that. I know that that's usually how things work. But the public deserve to know that there had been an offer presented to the city with certain conditions that were attached to it. The next thing is that at the beginning of the meeting, the mayor declared that Mr. Azinger and Mr. Bibby were absent, and having a quorum, they decided to proceed with the meeting. But during the meeting, when it came up about tabling the issue with the Thrasher Group, Mr. Azinger was called. I don't understand why he was called. He was not present during any of the conversations. I think because, and I'm just going to say that the mayor was afraid the vote was going to go the wrong way, and he didn't want a whole lot of discussion to be there. That's my personal opinion. But at first, because they were counted as absent, I still don't know why Mr. Azinger was called for his vote. And should that even have been allowed? I mean, is that part of the council process? That if you're not present, and I'm not talking by phone, if you're not physically here and you've already been told you're absent, why are you called to make a vote on something that you hadn't even heard? I'm just curious about that. Also, during the public forum, Mr. Leach was clearly agitated when he proceeded to ask for a show of hands as to who was present, either as a concerned citizen or by invitation. That was clearly out of line. Citizens can attend by their own volition or by invitation. I, for one, was glad to see such a huge turnout regardless of the reasons for their attendance, just like I'm glad to see all the people that turned out today. That is their right, that is my right, that is everybody in Vienna's right. The term misinformation is being used loosely by our city government in an accusatory manner, and it seems like the only misinformation being disseminated is coming from the city building. We're just reacting to what you put out there in public. See, and for the last thing is that I hope that everybody will attend that town hall meeting on July 16th at the community center building. I hope the mayor has extended an invitation to the Wood County Board of Education, as well as the other interested parties that could answer other questions like the traffic and stuff like that, over the concerns of the consolidated school and the traffic issues we have. I hope this will be a question and answer kind of meeting, and not like the one that was held back in 2018, where there was a presentation done, but if you had questions, you had to go to separate tables if you got your questions, because the people that need to answer the questions were not present at that time. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Mrs. Goodwin, I would like to clarify one thing for you. It only takes 4 members of council to have a quorum, ma'am. Okay? So we had a quorum before we ever started.
So you did, to me, you didn't need to call Mr. Azinger.
Mr. Azinger is probably the most legendary civil servant that's ever served in the city of Vienna. The respect that he's earned over his, I would guess, 50-year career. And Tom's a very dedicated Vienna citizen. Next up is Tony Morrison.
Yeah.
Then maybe they need to know that. But go ahead and tell them that.
Just so you guys know, we were having trouble getting Mr. Azinger. He was trying to call in. Earlier on in the meeting, we were having trouble getting this thing. It's the speaker that we use remotely. And we had a couple of different times we were having trouble. I was actually trying to dial Mr. Azinger when the phone call dropped. I'm sorry, Mr. Azinger finally got in, phone call dropped, and a couple of times I was trying to call and dial him in. So it wasn't a matter, I don't know how the public saw it, but it wasn't a matter of, at least I'm not aware that anybody called Tom to have him call in to vote. We just have this speaker thing up here that works like a cell phone, works with your cell phone, and you know how it is when you're driving around. Sometimes you'll drop calls, and that's what happens. So when you see me fooling around with this thing because it's in my arm's reach and Tom's on the other end or somebody's on the other end, and I hope I didn't just hang up on Roger, that's me trying to reconnect a phone call. So.
Mr. Bibby, are you still with us, Roger?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Morrison, it's yours.
All right, Tony Morrison, 1210 15th Street. First off, I think I'm really pleased to see the turnout tonight. I think the more people we have in these meetings, the better off the city's always going to be, regardless of which side of the line you fall on. I think it's great that we have people showing up, and I'd like to see more. So kudos there. And I think the last meeting, I kind of talked about the contract that we had with Thrasher in front of the city, I was my soul was put at ease that day. The Thrasher group came up here and absolutely killed it. Kudos to them. I think they did a great job, kind of explaining the process, and I think we did. Council did the right thing by tabling and working out the kinks. I would have liked to have seen the final deal, but I'm sure, based on what we heard 2 weeks ago, it's all we're gonna get a chance to kind of give our input from the community vision before. So, right, hopefully. And with the school. I don't really mind the location. I think the location's pretty good, honestly. You're going to have ups, positives, negatives with any location you pick throughout the city. I think everybody's aware of that. There's just 2 things that I think everybody should consider in the process here. Just kind of as I'm, twirling this idea around in my head, and as a city, we're talking about growth. We're talking about hopefully getting bigger. With the developments we got popping up here and there. And with that growth, we'll obviously, hopefully, see an influx of younger families. And I think it should be something worth considering. Is this new building going to be able to, be able to help there? see that growth. You know, we're not building something that's going to last for 10 years and then we're going to have to build on to it. Just wanted to throw that out there for consideration. I know we're still early in the process. And the other thing about the school, and just sitting down at the board meeting, I got to hear Pickering's presentation, which I think we'll hear tonight too, maybe hear something like it. But there was a question about installing a stage. You know, should we do it? Should we not? There's little details I don't want to see us leave out, you know, for saving a buck. You know, I, for one, going to Neil School, I have good memories of, you know, performing in the school plays, and, you know, I can still dust off the old VHSs and watch one from second grade or from sixth grade or something, you know, when I was attending there. So just things like that, I'd like to make sure that they don't get shoved away because we're afraid to spend a couple extra bucks. I know a couple extra bucks isn't real. It's, you know, a couple $1 million. It's not an insignificant amount of money, but I just think stuff like that needs to be, you know, included. And then the last thing I want to say, and I think Ms. Goodwin just said, was the town hall meeting for the school. The city posted for July 16th at 6 p.m. at the Vienna Community Building. I hope to see as many people there, or maybe even more, to listen, learn, get educated. I mean, it's easy to come up here and just say what's on your mind, and I've done it myself, you know, spout off without being fully educated on what it is exactly that's happening. And the more meetings that we can attend as a city, you know, as a citizen of the city, or people who are concerned with what's going on, the more information we can get, the better off we'll be. Thanks.
Harry Dietler.
Thank you, Mayor. And I agree that Tommy Azinger is just an absolute legend. And I also appreciate that he's always been supportive of me as a friend as well. I'm here to thank you and to thank the Board of Education, Justin and the crew over here, and Ryan and all, for everything that you're doing. You're making decisions. I just checked there, in 2022, there are 10,506 people in this community, and the number of people in this room is 1/3 of 1%, and I'm glad that each of them comes in and speaks. But you, as the representatives, are doing just a wonderful job. You're listening to the entire population and making decisions based on what you were elected to do, what is best for the city of Vienna. And as for most people don't want to admit that they were in another town, but I was in Charleston and I was on city council for 8 years down there, or 27 I was on council, and we had to make decisions for 50,000 people. And there are always people who come in and complain and that kind of thing. But we stayed positive, and you all are just doing a wonderful job on that. The amphitheater, just what a wonderful thing for the community. Missoula, Montana has a similar thing, and it's just utilized constantly and brings more people there. What the schools are doing, bringing, saving the sites of Vienna School and Neil School for public use, and creating new opportunities for the kids. That's so wonderful. It's the end of my street where they're going to stick that school. Everybody's complaining about traffic. It doesn't bother me. That's going to be, having a combined school like that is going to give these kids opportunities they never would have had in single schools like that. And then the Freedom Festival, as a sponsor, I can brag on it, even though I missed it because my wife dragged me out of town for the 35th wedding anniversary, whatever that is. What a great event. And it heard nothing but good about that. I just wanted to come up here and say what a good job you're doing. So thank you.
Before we leave the public forum part of our agenda, at the last meeting that we had, there were 2 questions that were asked. On 8th Street, there was a gentleman that was here that wanted to know why there were no parking signs on 8th Street. So we all went down, the Public Works and the code enforcement people. And in that little street, and I didn't count the number of houses, but I'm going to guess it's 12. In that circle that's there, there were 6. Almost new, no parking signs, all in the same side where they need to be. I don't know how he could miss them, but they're there and they're like new. The other thing that was brought up was a 10-foot right-of-way that the city has back behind 6th and 7th Street. And yes, there is a 10-foot right-of-way. Unfortunately, that 10-foot right-of-way is right up against the boundary of the lots that are there, and all of that flooding issue that's there and the overgrowth and all of that is not the city of Vienna's property. It is not in the city of Vienna. And so that outlet that goes underneath the TJ Maxx building would have to be fixed by the county. So those are the 2 follow-ups on that right there. One other thing that Mr. Dietzler brought up, I received a letter. It says, Mayor Rapp and Vienna City Council, on behalf of the Friends of Vienna, we want to express our gratitude for your generous donation to the 2024 Freedom Festival. Your support was crucial in making this year's festival a success, and we were delighted to see so many happy families in attendance. Thank you all. So that's the council. All right. So we will move on. The minutes from the regular council meeting on June the 27th, 2024 have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If there are no objections, then the minutes will stand approved as posted. The report of the treasurer, Councilman Leach.
Finance Director provided reconciliation of funds for the City of Vienna dated July 8, 2024. I reviewed the accounts. They appear in order, and the city is financially sound.
All right, thank you, sir. First item this evening is under unfinished business, and that's a resolution approving and authorizing the City of Vienna to engage the Thrasher Group to perform planning and design services for the design of the Spencer's Landing Master Planning and Amphitheater Project. This resolution will not be voted on this evening. It will be a discussion-only item. The resolution was not presented early enough to get it out to council for their examination. Mr. Skogstad, you have looked that over, and
I reviewed it. I received a copy sometime yesterday. I've given it a preliminary review. It looks like it's incorporated most of the changes that I suggested, and I honestly don't see much problems with the agreement. And I'd like to thank Mr. Mancuso for responding. When I sent a copy of a draft copy to him that I had prepared, he responded with what I thought was a very well taken suggestion. But I would like to have the opportunity to make sure that all the council members have had a chance to review it and make any additional, if they have any additional changes or suggestions. But my preliminary review is they've incorporated the modifications that they were sent. I honestly just want to sit down with it and look at it a little more closely, and to have the chance that any of the other council members that want to have input, and so I can send it back to the folks at Thrasher.
Chris?
No, I don't really have too much to say. I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to gather some input there and look at some of those scheduling things that I think it's gonna just help keep the project moving along and keep people involved. Yeah, I didn't have, as Russ said, I looked at it very late last night. I haven't had a ton of time to read through it thoroughly with everything going on, but it looks like, from what I can tell, Thrasher has definitely taken the feedback from the last council meeting and fully intends to have a lot more community input and involvement in this process, which I think is going to be a positive thing.
In the red line decision that I received, it is in there. One was the first thing that was changed was the public input is put into this agreement. And so that is definitely part of this new one here. And then the timelines were defined as, what was going to happen. So at any rate. Jim, any comments?
I think we have a representative from Thrasher here. Might give him a minute or two to describe his input in making the changes. And so also, I think you give anyone an opportunity to any questions or clarifications to the extent they have reviewed it, which I did get a chance to look it over as well.
All right.
I guess I would just quickly address, we did try to listen to the feedback we received both from the community and council. One of the things that I think we kind of really missed what people were expecting is that front end community engagement. We had kind of identified we would develop concepts and come to a workshop to seek their feedback, and what we were trying to do in reverse of that, much like the survey that was presented tonight, we would start the entire process with a survey that would ask very targeted questions, not only about an amphitheater, but about the entire use and program for the park space itself. So that's going to be taking place on the front end. The intent would be to take that feedback, have a community workshop where we can present different ideas. There's not a one-size-fits-all solution to this project. So the idea would be to present different ideas and use that as a second way to gauge feedback. And oftentimes what we'll do is release a second survey that says, give us your thoughts on the concepts we've presented. That's certainly an option that we could incorporate into this. So with that, I don't want to belabor a point. If you all have any questions of me, I'm here for that. Certainly, appreciate the opportunity to speak, but we'll answer your questions if you have them.
I do. So you mentioned, and I reviewed it, I think that's a part of your first survey. You did front load it with the community input, also some terms and conditions that Russ had proposed. My understanding is you incorporated and accepted all of those, correct?
I did.
So we really didn't have any issue with the legal side from the city. And then you've heard people from the community speak about, generally, I think there's a consensus there is an interest in Vienna having an amphitheater. There's a lot of discussion about what that might look like in terms of size, scope, how seating, if any, versus bringing your own chair. And you mentioned you're going to have 2 to 3 alternatives that you're going to present. Is that specifically with respect to the amphitheater for people to consider and look at?
I would say that's for our goal is to master plan Spencer's Landing. So the amphitheater may be different sizes and different concepts, but the 3 alternatives will focus on the entire design of the park. It's, our proposal is not intended to focus only on the amphitheater. It's to master plan this property.
And just finally, I think to address some questions that we're hearing from our folks that live here. So although we have put out some size and there have been several different proposed things about the amphitheater. Are you going into this with any preconceived notion about what is best going to suit our community, or is this something that you're going to rely on your own expertise and kind of say, hey, this, based on everything we're hearing, and after you get this public input, this is kind of what we propose as being the best fit for what we would see this community getting the best advantage from? Is that kind of the approach?
Yeah, and I think I kind of said that the last time. Our idea is to tell you if something's a good or a bad idea. Or our job is to tell you if something's a good or a bad idea. So certainly we're going to take our own approach at this. We're going to listen to what steering committee says, what council says, what the community says, and then we're going to propose ideas that we think make sense. And, we don't want to come up with something that's unachievable or a bad idea. So that's certainly part of this process.
That's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Mr. Rich, I was going to ask you about how the survey process is going to work. So I know we're going to have like community engagement type groups and that kind of stuff. And Ms. Rhodes' survey that she's got going on, maybe that's something that she could share that information with you all. But the online survey that you guys are going to do, you're doing something like that, correct? Like we'll put something on our website then that we put out. I think we need to somehow be able to highlight and make sure everybody knows, like, this is the official, from the Thrasher group. This is, the compilation that we're looking for. You guys are going to have different questions and all that, correct? And then I can't remember how the previous surveys were done, like for the master plan for the parks and that kind of stuff. We open that up for, anybody can respond, or do we filter out and say, okay, anybody can respond, but we're going to filter out and say, okay, what were Vienna residents' responses? Or how do we do that to find out? Because our Vienna residents are the ones that are the tax base and all of that. And so we need to make sure that we're not getting an overwhelming amount of Parkersburg or Williamstown or Marietta influence. I mean, we care about them because they're part of the overall community, and we hope they utilize the space. But how do we make sure that we get as much Vienna input as possible?
So the software that we will use, it's an online platform called JotForm, where we can filter results, and we will ask demographic questions when we release the survey to understand where people are from, how old they are, like what type of household they live in. We can filter the results based off of those responses, and one of the questions we'll ask is, are you a resident of Vienna? Now, people can lie, but I think most people will respond to this in a truthful manner. We can also, require that names be submitted so that we can eliminate duplicate responses. That's maybe another concern with online surveys, is that people could get on there and respond 100 times if they wanted to. So there's a lot of things that we can work through with you all to present that before it goes live, to kind of quality control the feedback that we get.
Yeah, I think that's going to be super important, just to make sure that, we're going to ask the questions, and you just like anything, the percentages. It was interesting, Ms. Rhodes' survey, is coming in consistently with all the other things, saying, yeah, amphitheater is still rising to the top no matter how many respondents you get. But we want to make sure that our base is as pure as possible, that we're getting the information from.
Right.
Thank you.
And I didn't really get to address the first part of your comment. It would be able to be posted on your website. We can also assist you all in geofencing the survey. If they don't follow you on social media, they don't get on your website, they're not going to see it. We can geofence this geographic area and run it as an ad on like Facebook, so that people will see it, and it'll pop up as a Thrasher Group ad from our page, but we can market it that it's only advertising in this area.
That would be great.
So,
yeah,
and we've had some good success with using that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Kim?
Okay. Hi, welcome back.
Thank you.
Better circumstances this evening than you last time. So I have a question about the survey. So you all will be formulating the questions.
We will provide a draft to probably council and the steering committee that's assigned to the project, just to review. We'll come up with the initial questions. You all can provide feedback to that and say, we don't like that question, or we think you should ask different questions or more questions. But ultimately, part of our scope of work is to come up with that survey and the questions that will be asked initially.
And the reason I ask that is because I'm just curious how it's going to be formulated. We say amphitheater, and it can mean a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about a stage and people being able to just bring their bag chairs and enjoy performances. There was the impact analysis where it said, a 500-person seating amphitheater, and then what was advertised in the paper, which was 3,000 to 4,000 covered seat amphitheater. So that's why I'm just curious: are people going to have an opportunity to kind of gauge what type of amphitheater they want? Clearly, everybody wants an amphitheater. I want an amphitheater. It's just I think it can be. I don't say easy to try to persuade an answer. That's what I don't want to see happen. You know what I mean?
I understand.
I'm curious about how the questions get formulated and what the questions are going to be regarding an amphitheater.
Well, and I think that that's something where we would have to provide some description to. When we say amphitheater, there's gathering spaces, there's small band venues, there's large band venues. I mean, that word is used interchangeably. It means a lot of different things. So I think, to your point, there will be a significant focus on the amphitheater itself in the survey that asks, not just, do you want an amphitheater? Well, are you interested in an amphitheater? And then what we'll commonly do is kind of tell us more and ask questions about what type of venue they think would be successful here, or that they would participate in. Okay. And there is certainly, when you look across West Virginia at the size venues that we have, there are some larger ones in the state. A lot of larger ones, let's say 5,000 plus, are in bigger cities because they have the draw and can support that economically, and people will travel there. They have lodging.
Right.
So part of what we have to look at, we have to look at the feasibility analysis that was done. We have to work with Lindsay Pearsall at the Development Authority just to kind of, rely on each other and looking at data about what can actually be supported here. Just because we want a 3,000 seat amphitheater doesn't mean it's feasible. Maybe it needs to be smaller, and that's what we have to look into.
Okay.
So
that was my big concern about that. And then just reading through this contract, everything relies very heavily on the steering committee, how the direction things go, and before changes can be made. I mean, the steering committee is they're the key to this. And this is not a question for you. I mean, this is, I guess, a question for the mayor. I totally believe that we need to make sure that we have some variety of voices on that steering committee. And the last time we met, and I said, we're fortunate on this council because we do have an architect on our council, and I think he would be a huge asset to be on the steering committee. And I want to see that happen. I also think a resident in the community, and I'm not talking about somebody that already serves on boards and is already in our environment. They're involved in a lot of things in Vienna, and they have a lot of opinions about what happens in Vienna. I'm talking about somebody in the community, or maybe multiple people in the community, that are not in our environment. So we get some new, fresh faces, ideas, maybe younger people, diversity of people, because I don't exactly know who was on the steering committee because we still never got a straight answer on that. But I did happen to notice from all the names that were mentioned, there wasn't one female on the steering committee. Well, I think, and actually in Vienna, there are more females in Vienna than males. And so I think, once again, diversity of opinion. So I'm really happy we're not going to execute this contract tonight, but I think when we come back to execute it, we need to figure out who's going to be on that steering committee and make that formal to the community so that we know who is helping develop and guide what's going to happen. That's my comments.
Mr. Bibby, do you have any comments this evening?
No, actually I don't. I likewise am glad we're not going to act on this. I've not had an opportunity as of yet to fully grasp it. But it seems like the plan moving forward is one that we should shoot for.
All right, thank you. All right, with that then, we will put this back on the agenda for the next meeting for the actual vote. Russell, please give us any comments after you've reviewed it in depth.
Yeah, and if anybody has any suggestions, things they'd like me to add, let me know, in the next, at least give me a couple of days before the next meeting. So I'd like to have it a little bit earlier so that I can send it to these guys and see if they're okay with any suggested changes we have. I don't anticipate any. I think they've incorporated everything that we've asked in the agreement. But if you have something, could you get it to me in the next week or a week before the next meeting? I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mayor Rapp, Vienna City Council, thank you so much for allowing Wood County Schools to come tonight to share with you a plan for our new elementary school in Vienna. With me tonight, I just want to introduce who's with me. I appreciate them being here. So we have Board President Justin Raber, we have Vice President of the Board of Education, Rick Alcott, and Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Caleb Lawrence, and Ryan Taylor with Pickering. And at this time, I'm going to let Ryan have the floor.
So is this working? Wow, that's loud. Let's roll first, okay? So, thanks for inviting us. I have a little bit of a cold, so forgive me. Tonight, we're going to talk about a lot of things, and I think it'd be more appropriate to stop us and ask us questions as they come up. Or if you want to wait to the end, there's a Q&A session, but I think it would be more robust. Just try to get me off my game, see if you can ask questions. You know, my great friend Brasher, they'd love to see you guys, grill me, but don't. So tonight, we're going to talk about what we just presented to the Wood County Board of Education on Tuesday night. But we have some more information, so some of the board members are going to get to see some new information. So you kindly allowed us to come and do a right of entry onto your property for due diligence. So we have done that. We have done geotechnical. We've addressed the physical site features. You know what? I think I will walk. So we've done environmental findings. We did a phase one. My environmental scientist, as a Vienna resident, wave your hand. He did that work. We've done archaeological, historical findings, traffic impact study, and we've done a utility coordination. So we've done a lot. It's a great piece of property. So here's our findings. And once again, stop me if you have any questions, and I'll try to do my best. The site's about 12 acres. I mean, Russ, I think it's like 11.7 or something like that. It has Jackson Park road frontage. It has significant topography. So I don't know what you guys call the big rock mound, big dig or whatever, but there's a significant topographical feature that we all know that Melissa, your husband, was trying hard to get that thing removed. And I think he might be excited if we move some of it. So I'm excited for that. Geotechnical, we did engage a firm, CTL, and we did take several borings, and the findings were good. We do have some areas that had some soft soils and things like that we'll probably end up doing. Is that concerning?
Fire department, 7 o'clock.
Okay. So
I'm not concerned.
You're not concerned. But if you're not concerned, I'm not concerned. So there's some mixtures, some shale and some soft soils. We will probably have to do some deeper foundations, whether it be an auger-cast pile or something like that. Nothing to worry about. We'll get into, our structural engineers will own that. We'll have some groundwater management required, but no issues there. We didn't really find any phase one environmental issues with the land. The interesting fact, this is deed 0 in the book. You guys have been the only owner. It's neat to see that in the deed book that this thing is yours. No one else has owned it. It's, as Andrew probably said, well, I shouldn't worry about a dry cleaner being there. Clearly nothing's been there, so that's exciting. We hired a company called Weller & Associates, and they dug a bunch of holes looking for artifacts, looking for significant evidence of, something that would cause us, since we're using, some state money, some appropriate action to do if we found something. And we did not. So there was no significance that we need to be concerned of on this property. We hired AMT to do a traffic study. They measured, so one of the things that we made was really important, we did this during school. So we've counted cars, we've had the traffic study, we've analyzed the roads, Rosemar and Jackson Road. And so we have some good news. We've been waiting on that for a while. Department of Highways is understaffed, they're doing their best, but I think we have some good news to tell tonight.
So this afternoon, I received a call from Perry Keller, and he stated that we have verbal approval of that plan, and it's approved by the West Virginia Department of Highways.
So let's talk about that plan. So what the consultant is recommending is a stoplight and basically a turn lane both ways. So essentially, we're going to take that 2-lane into a 3-lane coming both ways. So if you're going north, like towards Williamstown up Rosemar, there will be a middle lane, turn left into the park. If you're coming from 46th Street down into Parkersburg, there'll be a turn lane on the right. So a major improvement. One of the things that was interesting in the study, that the Department of Highways has known this has been a known issue. And this is going to check one of their boxes about fixing this. So it's going to be on the hook to do a lot of the cost for the light and things like that. But we believe Department of Highways is going to chip in to help and fix these known issues. And I think you guys have all dealt with that busy road. And I think we're going to make it better by putting the turn lanes and the stoplight there if everything goes through. I want to commend, yeah, great.
So this might be a pipe dream.
Let me have it. Let me have it.
There's been conversations about a way to pass under Rosemar to get to McDonough and between the two parks. I don't think that's contemplated, but it's been discussed, and so I'm at least going to mention
it. It's a neat concept. It's some type of pedestrian tunnel or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we take a pipe.
Yeah, take a pipe. So it's neat, and I think we should, if this goes through and the city of Vienna wants this to go through and we go this route, I'm sure it'll be tossed around. Okay?
That'd be great. Thank
okay. I want to thank you for Craig Metz. I don't know if he's here. He's been very helpful. I think my civil engineers have bugged the heck out of him, but he's answered all of our questions. We are waiting a little more data, but it's been good to do that due diligence to see if this property will fit our needs. So, a school requires a lot of electric, a lot of gas, a lot of water, a lot of sanitary, a lot of connections, and so we're checking those boxes off. So, basically what we told President Raber Tuesday was this site checks the boxes. So now is the time to open the dialogue with you guys to see if you're interested in negotiating some way. And so we recommended some type of town hall or some type of public discussion. The board voted to allow Christy to come start this conversation tonight, and in the future, attend future meetings to have this dialogue opened up, get input, and then hopefully we can move along. So we're going to show you some designs of schools, and you might think that's pretty presumptuous. You've done this, and you haven't indeed, but you don't even own the property. Well, that's not the case. That's a part of the due diligence phase. We parallel path it because, the site will work, but maybe it won't be good for a school. So that was one of the other boxes. So we're going to show you some slides that probably some people haven't seen. I know there's a rendering on it. It's pretty cool. So, and we'll provide this hard copy to you. So, this is the proposed site. So, I'm going to put Superintendent Willis on the spot a little bit. Why don't you talk about how many kids are going to be planning to go to the school, and talk a little bit about demographics, size of both schools, and we'll hopefully set the background.
Okay, so currently, if school started today, there would be 281 students going to Vienna and 365 students attending Neal. That's a total of 646 students. What you see laid out, our plan is to build this so that we could house 670 students. All right? Let me go into what these wings are.
Yeah. Please do.
Okay. So when we're looking at these wings, if we start over here on the right, we have pre-K, kindergarten, and first on this side of the building, and they will have their own playground that is surrounded by 3 walls, and then we can put a fence there for safety. The pre-K rooms open up directly to the playground, so they have direct access. As you move into the center of the building, which would be the front entrance, you come in, you have the option of going to the gymnasium or the cafeteria. The thought behind this is when we have evening activities and the community comes in, we're able to close off both wings of the school so the public is, limited there. It has restrooms, but it also has just access to the cafeteria and the gymnasium. And then on the left side wing, it's actually 2 floors. So the bottom floor is 2nd and 3rd grade, and the 4th and 5th grade would be on the top wing. There is no 2nd floor above pre-K, 1st and 2nd. Oh, and the playground for grades 2 through 5 would be on the other side. So the cafeteria and the gymnasium come out, and then the playground for the older students would be on the left. Also, when we talked to the public, when Mr. Hasselflick was superintendent, he talked about having middle school sized gymnasiums in our elementary schools that we were building, and this plan honors that too.
Yeah, thank you. So size 69,000 square feet. We're using the 12 acres at the best. Our goal is to get all of the traffic off of Jackson Road and onto this property. So you can see big long queues. So So the pre-K drop-off is here, the bus drop-off is in the front, and then you have, what's neat is it's double lanes all the way around here. So so I have 3 boys. I would drop, back in the day when I went to 3, I would drop a kid off at Madison, Hamilton, and PHS. It was a nightmare. It was like I was risking my life every day. So what's cool here is you can drop off your pre-K and then jump back in line and drop off your first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So our goal is to, and that's why you need so much land, is so you don't bog up the road. And so that was a really important part of this concept. We met with traffic, Chad, he's not traffic, what's the
Transportation Director Chad Bliss.
So when we was planning, when we met with A&T, they took his guidance on how the buses were going to come in. And so there's a little bit of a split. Some buses are going to come from the hill, over the hill. Some are going to come from 46. Some are going to come up from Rosemar. We can't control human behavior, how people are going to drive their kids there, but we think they'll work themselves way out of the best approach to get their kids here. Building on that, we also have so much queue on this site.
Can I speak to the transportation?
Please. Yep.
All right. So something else that I've had folks talk to me about are students who walk to school. We are going to do a no walk zone, which means typically in Wood County, if you live within a 2-mile radius, we do not bus students to schools within that circle. Well, in this case, because of the location, we are going to bus all students. At least have the opportunity, if parents would like to use our transportation, all students who currently attend Neal and Vienna will have a bus stop, so they could ride a bus if that is their choice.
That's huge, because some kids that are close to Neal still would want to ride a bus, but they don't have the opportunity now. Keep going or ask questions? Okay. All right, so here is what we think it's going to look like. We tried to maintain lots of things. We knew that the walking path was important. We knew the sleigh riding hill was important. We have all of this queue for the traffic to come on the property. So this is what, the next step would be if you guys are willing to entertain this property. We would like to start working on design like this. So here is our ambitious schedule.
Now we're going to stop you.
Okay.
Craig, you need to slide in. And I'd like you to go back your slide, Brian. Yeah, there you go. All right. So when you look at that,
I'm good.
When you look at that drawing,
Yes.
you're not interfering with the baseball fields that are to the left of the drainage ditch.
Can I show you the actual large floor plan right here? So that shows you the whole site.
Yes. All right. I just want to emphasize the point that that is not going to interfere with our baseball fields. All right. Now, Craig, there's a drainage ditch in between that. What are the concerns with stormwater?
Nothing. You got retention systems in that? Is that what
We'll have to.
Yes. Yeah. So
Two
I should have.
But those are going to be dry, but they're going to be ready for that.
Good deal.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
Yes, that retention system built, dry systems, so that's what the areas are here, yeah. So that should take care of most of the stormwater on that property.
What Craig is telling us is that this site is more ready than some of our other sites, but we do have a septic concern. So we are working with Craig, trying to figure out how we can, because I think there's a lift station here nearby or something. So that's probably our box we still need to check, is how do we take care of the sanitary outflow for this property? There's not three-phase power, but power company said we're going to give it to you. Now, to get the data fiber there, they're going to charge us about $70,000. So in the day, my goal is to give President Raber in about a month or so a 400-page report saying, hey, this site, here's all of the consultants we've used, we are ready to go, and then you guys will be engaged, and we'll talk about property, however this thing works out.
Thank you.
Above my pay grade.
I'm good.
Thank you. So, schedule. We are in the design process right now. So my team is parallel pathing the due diligence phase and the design phase. A little risky, but we need to keep moving. We've been waiting for this bond passed many years ago. So, and our number, that bond has stayed stagnant. Inflation hasn't. So we need to get this thing on the street. We need to get it, but we can't rush it. We got to get it right. So our goal is to, if all things works out and the community loves it and we all get some consensus, we would like to bid it January 25. So it's pretty aggressive. And we would open this school in 27, the fall of 27. This is 24 months. Yes. So scope, budget, schedule. Caleb, I think this is the most expensive school, correct? It's the largest school by square footage. Lubeck has more acreage. This probably has more usable acreage. Schedule, you've shown it. So what questions do you have? We would love to come and open up dialogue, what we know. We know a lot about the site right now. We know a good bit about the school. This is in the SD phase, schematic design. It's already been submitted. The SBA has been working with us. We're making a lot of headway, but we're still a long way away. You can see that, January, we need a lot of time to keep designing.
Brian, is there any talk about widening or doing anything to Jackson Road itself, to the Park Road?
Further, A&T said it wasn't required in their study. The Department of Highways has verbally approved that study. We still need to look more into it. But right now, it's not in the budget. It's a state road. We, as a county, we don't mess around with other people's property. So they're going to have to weigh in on that.
Okay.
But great question, because, as a resident of this community, and as I use your tennis courts and pickleball courts all the time, that road's,
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you go back?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did you have any other questions?
Which one you want?
The top view. Next, yeah, there.
That one? Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I call it Mike's Mountain. How much of that, are you going to use a part of that topographical feature as fill? And how much of it is going to remain when you're done?
Great question. So his question is, how much of Mike's Mountain are we taking off? We are going to plan to either bench it or slope it, but the sloping doesn't seem to work with the geotech report, so it's probably going to be benched. So significant amounts are going to remain. We're going to use some of it for fill, but just to be very clear for community members, it's going to be grassed, hydroseeded, and a lot of it's still going to stay there. The eyesores, some of it's going to still be there. It's just not in the budget, completely remove it, and it's not needed.
Have you, I took some fill from there for a project I had, and we spent some time up on top, on the hillside. And, when you go up there, I mean, it's kind of impressive.
It is impressive.
You have a nice view.
Yeah.
You have.
I was afraid the rig was going to fall off the hill.
Well, there is that. Too. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. And then I think that not all of that feature, some of that belongs to private citizens, right?
Yeah.
So will there still be an access road to the top of that? Or are you going to just make it like a no man's land? What do you intend to do with?
Can I say I don't know?
Okay.
So honestly, the superintendent, their facilities people, they're going to own this land.
Right.
And so they're going to give us direction on how they maintain their land, just like Lubeck. They own now 32 acres. They're only using the first 10. So we just don't know yet.
I think it's a blessing and a curse. I mean, there's good features and bad to it, but okay. All right.
It's a security reason for many reasons. When we're talking about designing this facility, last thing you want to do, as the officers say, would want to have a perch like that around you. So we are going to want to secure it really well. Those are concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
Hey, Ryan, can I add a couple things?
Absolutely. You get me off the hot seat.
Good evening. I'm Justin Raver, 47th place here in Vienna. And I did not. I know there's a couple of items that Ryan and Christy did not hit on that I think is very important for this community to know. So one of the major concerns is with the school, any new school, and our hopes as the residents of Vienna is how do we make our community larger? So the question is, what about future growth? So I was asked this question, will this complex be large enough? So if we choose a site like this that is large enough to build this size of a school, yes, it will be large enough to accommodate future growth. It should be noted that when we were dealing with this type of discussion several years ago, when we combined Williamstown Elementary and Waverly, we built that school for 611 students. At that time, that was the max when those two schools would be combined. Just a few short years later, we're only utilizing 89% of that school because our school-age population keeps declining. Over the past couple of years, we're down 400 to 800 students within the entire county, and no specific area except Blennerhassett is immune to that. So I think that's very important as well. So this school, based upon the data that I received a few weeks ago, the original plan was for this to be about 702 students. And at that information, when we ended the school year last year, we were at 681 going from Vienna and Neal, and now we're even less than that. So will this school accommodate future growth? Absolutely. As well as we have one of the most amazing schools, all of our schools are amazing, but the great things that happen at Greenmont. Greenmont's within the city of Vienna, and it has utilization that we can add to as well. So we are in Vienna in a very good position to accommodate future growth. As well as, people want their kids to go to a new school. And we're going to, with our open enrollment, be able to handle any requests that go to the new school as well. So I think that's very important. One of the other items, I just became aware via Facebook, and I let the superintendent know when I saw on Facebook today or yesterday morning, I think it was today, that the city has planned a town hall for next Tuesday. Didn't know anything about it, but glad we're doing it. So I will be there, and a number of individuals from Pickering and our central office. A couple weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago, the superintendent asked if she could go on vacation, and I told her she had to. So she will not be there because she already has a planned vacation, but her staff is absolutely gangbuster and will be there in her place instead. So I wanted to let council know, if you don't see Mrs. Willis, you can blame me. So, from a couple weeks ago.
Go ahead, Brian, own up.
I'm sorry, and I won't be there either. I'm leaving at 7 in the morning and take my boys to Disney World with my wife, and so I would be strung up if I didn't finish my plan, but I am glad, excited that you are holding a town hall, and Caleb, right here, he can grill him all you want. So he is prepared. We've been prepping him, so he's getting the tough questions. And Rick, he's back up.
I have a question, and it's probably directed to President Raber.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about Vienna School a little bit? Are we in a position to talk about that?
So I believe, what I would love to see is a potential land swap, because we have some valuable land that has an improvement on it, as well as you have valuable land that we would like to improve. It would be really nice to hopefully be able to swap land and provide to the city of Vienna the current Vienna Elementary site, because that school, is usable for many other things. It has a fairly newer roof that can, a very nice gym, a cafeteria. So that part of the building can be used for a community center and, workforce training sites. I think there's a lot of usable areas that just don't function well for a 21st century elementary school that can be very utilized by the city of Vienna, and having a much larger place for the community to gather versus our current facility that, parking's difficult and, it's not that large of a facility, may be much more amenable to what the city is able to do.
Maybe we ought to have a town hall in the Vienna Elementary School and get people excited. I mean, talk about a nice little way to, get people.
That was my other question. Obviously, it's not ADA compliant. So,
No.
So just a.
We're not giving you a perfect solution.
Well, no, I'm trying to grab understand it.
No elements.
Okay. Yes.
So I did have a phone call this week from a citizen of Vienna who lives with his backyard is Vienna Elementary, and he shared with me how much he enjoys watching the kids play there and ride their bikes. So we will not take the playground equipment if we are able to do this land swap. If you all would like that playground equipment to remain there, it will stay there, and we will buy new playground equipment for the new school.
Is this the time we're going to talk about this? Okay, so let's do the other one then. When the initial discussion came up, we asked for Maplewood School because we want to partner with the labor unions as a mentorship program. We own the land, you own the building. All right, where do we stand on that?
Please make a deal.
Well, pretty much.
Let's make a deal. Please take the building.
Yes, you can have Maplewood.
There you go. Okay.
Keep pushing. We'll take it.
Okay.
I already tried.
But that's true.
Pending, your approval, our approval. That's why we have two great negotiators to negotiate with you and be able to come up with a solution that works both for Wood County Board of Education and Wood County Schools. Because just like Maplewood, we do not utilize that whatsoever. And, it has been a, dual-owned property because we own the improvements and you own the real estate. So how do we deal with things like that? I think some items we're able to, fix some of these obstacles that we've had for years.
Well, Mr. Rayburn, I know that you're a lawyer. This is our lawyer. Congratulations. You guys will wear it out. So
I go up against him often. I can take him.
There you go. Well, hold on a minute now. Mr. Leach is also a lawyer.
Mediator.
There you go.
I got a question about, we obviously, this is an example of one of those things the mayor mentioned in the last meeting that we're not allowed to talk about until we're allowed to talk about it. And this discussion about this land swap was proposed to council in executive session on real estate. And, to gauge everybody's interest, right, with respect to Vienna and with respect to Maplewood. But one of the things when we were in that discussion, was, okay, careful what you ask for. What kind of condition is Vienna School in? You mentioned the roof's relatively new. And just so kind of everybody knows, at least what I know, is the only thing that might be, outdated and requires some attention and money in the future of the school would be the windows. Is that, and yet they're still serviceable. They just could stand some upgrade from the terms of energy efficiency and things like that, correct?
Yes. What we would recommend that we would turn over, so we county and all the counties in the state have to do a 10-year plan. And we studied that school really well. We would be happy to tell you you're getting it as is, but we'll tell you what's wrong with it, with this report, okay? It has asbestos, it has some other things, it has no AD. There's a laundry list of things that you'd be aware of.
And that report's complete?
Yes, that report is on our website, woodcountyschoolswv.com, and it's under our district, and you're looking for the Comprehensive Education Facilities Plan, CEFP for short, and it has every one of our county facilities listed. So Vienna's already listed on there as well.
Thank you.
If you can't find it, let me know.
All right, well, Mr. Bibby, do you have any questions this evening, sir?
Are we not raising your hand? I'm sorry.
We're gonna do them at the public meeting on Tuesday?
Perfect.
Okay?
Okay, sure.
No, Roger, do you have any questions? He was referencing something else.
Sorry.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right. So we'll see someone from each of you on Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock at the community building. And then we'll have, the public, we want their comments. That's what we want. So
could you give us a little heads up about the setup? Because I think this is a valuable illustration. Would you want us to print these out and have boards, or do you want to have something digital rolling on a TV?
We can make, we have a big TV that's there, so you can do your digital display there. All right. If you want to print a few of these in case someone wants to take one with them, that's entirely up to you all. But digitally, we can accommodate whatever presentation you want to make.
Okay.
All right.
We are going to put this on the Wood County Schools Bond Project Update website. Maybe we can figure out how to link your Vienna website so we can figure out how to get people to back and forth.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you all for coming Tuesday evening. We will deal with.
I wish I could be there.
Well, me too. Honestly, I wish you would be there too, but we'll.
I like my wife and kids better.
Read these comments on that. All right. So thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Let you move. All right, so the next item on our agenda this evening is a bid recommendation for the purchase of salt and de-icer for the 2024-2025 budget year. Councilman Leach, please.
Sealed bids for salt de-icer for the 24-25 budget were open Thursday, June 27, 2024, 9:15 a.m. with the following results. Morton Salt, $111.35 per ton delivered, $110 even picked up. Compass Minerals, $106.47 per ton delivered, $100 per ton even picked up. After careful review, the bid proposals, recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for salt is Compass Minerals at $106.47 per ton delivered, $100 per ton picked up. Funding for this project is $570.5541.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the low bid from Compass Minerals for salt and de-icer for the 2024-2025 budget year.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the low bid. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Leach?
Yes.
Mr. Bibby?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
I say yes. Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
All right. The bid's accepted unanimously. The next item this evening is a bid recommendation for the purchase of concrete for concrete replacement and for sidewalk replacement for the 2024 budget year. Mr. Leach.
Sealed bids for the cost of concrete replacement were open on Thursday, June 27, 2024, 9:15 a.m. with the following results. Jimmy Harper Construction, concrete replacement, $35 per square foot. Subgrade replacement, $22 per square foot. Sidewalk replacement, $36 per square foot. After careful review, the bid proposals, the recommendation for council approval for the Budget and Finance Committee for concrete replacement for 24-25 budget year is Jimmy Harper Construction, $35 per square foot for concrete replacement. Subgrade replacement, $22 per square foot. Sidewalk replacement, $36 per square foot. Funding's $570.6558.
I'll entertain a motion for the bid from Jimmy Harper Construction for the concrete replacement for the year 2024-2025.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the bid from Jimmy Harper Construction. Is there any further discussion?
Just a quick comment. I want to thank Craig Metz for providing an actual map this year. I think that's really helpful for us to review and look at. I'm sure we'll definitely take a look at that and see kind of in the next other bids as well with asphalt and flowable fill and stuff. Having kind of an idea of a plan of approach there and seeing what the priorities are and what are optional, I think is going to be really helpful for us. So,
I had a question. I noticed that last year's, we did the same, bid last year, but we didn't have sidewalk replacement on there last year, but we have sidewalk replacement on there now. Are we planning on replacing some sidewalks?
We still have our sidewalk program in that we passed by council.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've never not done sidewalks. We've just not had very many residents take an interest in that program.
Okay.
So yes, it's still there.
Okay, so the sidewalk replacement cost, that, if a resident wants to replace their sidewalk and use the, the program that got developed, I think, last year that Chris suggested, then that's the cost?
Yes.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Leach?
Yes.
Mr. Bibby?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes.
I say yes. Mr. Mancuso?
yes.
Resolution passes or bid recommendation passes unanimously. The next item this evening is a bid recommendation for the purchase of asphalt for as-needed asphalt projects for the 2024-2025 budget year. Councilman Leach.
Sealed bids for needed asphalt paving for 24-25 budget year were open on June 27, 2024 at 9:15 a.m. with the following results. Brown asphalt, 3-inch milling, $1.05 per square foot. 4-inch edge mill, $1.22 per square foot. Paving 2-inch base, 1-inch wearing, $2.97 a square foot. Paving 3-inch base, 1-inch wearing, $3.91 a square foot. Raising manhole, $778. Storm sewer catch basin riser, $778. Water valve riser, $175 each. Second bid was affordable asphalt maintenance, 3-inch milling, 69 cents a square foot. 4-inch edge mill, 76 cents a square foot. Paving 2-inch base, 1-inch wearing, $2.47 a square foot. Paving 3-inch base, 1-inch wearing, $3.07 a square foot. Raising manhole, $219. Storm sewer catch basin riser, $790. Water valve riser, $125 each. After careful review, the bid proposals, a recommendation for council for approval from Budget and Finance Committee for as-needed asphalt paving as affordable asphalt maintenance in the numbers that I've just read, and I won't read again. Funding for the project is $570,6558.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the low bid from affordable asphalt maintenance for the as-needed asphalt paving for the 2024-2025 budget year.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the low bid. Is there any further discussion?
Just a quick question. The manhole cost for each company was pretty drastically different. Do we know what the reason is for that, or is it just what they bid?
Difference in price for the manhole, Craig?
It's like $500 difference.
Yes, one's $290, and the other one is one's $790. One's $219. The other one's $778.
Price they bid. I mean, sometimes people make up price difference when measuring the manholes. That's how they're a lot of money. But,
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, then I'll call for the question. Would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Leach?
Yes.
Mr. Bibby? Mayor Rapp?
Yes.
I say yes. Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
The last item this evening is for the purchase of ready-mix concrete and flowable fill for the 2024-2025 budget year. Councilman Leach.
Sealed bids for the cost of ready-mix concrete and flowable fill were open on Tuesday, June 27, 2024 at 9:15 a.m. with the following results. LSM backfill, Smith Concrete, $155 per cubic yard. Class B, $186 per cubic yard. The Wells Group, LSM backfill, $150 per cubic yard. Class B, $175 per cubic yard. After careful review, the bid proposals, recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for concrete replacement for 24-25 budget year is the Wells Group at $150 per cubic yard for LSM backfill, $175 for Class B. Funding for the project is $570,6558.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the low bid from the Wells Group for ready-mix concrete and flowable fill for budget year 2024, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the low bid. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call for the question. Would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Leach?
Yes.
Mr. Bibby?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes.
I say yes. Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
Mr. Metz, any comments?
Just about streets, you don't mind.
We got all day.
I wouldn't have
You gotta
asked-
come in here.
I wouldn't have asked you if I didn't want, I know you have something to say.
I do. Thanks. I put on each of y'all's desk some drawings and an outlay of the cost estimate off our projected lowest bid. If you look at the drawings, it just kind of shows the streets that needs to be paved or concreted. And there's different areas and different colors for what years and what you're gonna do. You notice the red areas is the ones I definitely need to do this year. And projected cost of that. There's also some green and blue areas. The blue areas is areas that we're going to wait. An example, say 15th Avenue beside Jackson School, we want to wait to pay that until we get the stormwater system in. There's some area there at the park once done. The access right to the back plus the parking lot. But a couple things. I know 34th Street is a annual state road, but they're not going to maintain it. I give you a couple cost estimates of what it'd take to do concrete on 34th Street from Grand Central back down to the bridge at the park entrance, and you see the breakdown on that. I know the concrete to replace all the concrete on 34th Street's about $2.1 million, or we can overlay that and substantial cost savings. It's not going to last as long, but if you want to do something like that, let me know. The biggest thing is you all.
What you're saying is overlay it with concrete or asphalt?
Asphalt.
So you change it from a concrete road to asphalt?
I won't change it. The concrete road will still be there, but it'll be an asphalt on top of it.
For all intents and purposes.
Yes.
Now it'll be asphalt.
Right.
It'll always have to be.
And same thing.
2 million for the concrete and how much for
2
the
million. 143,000.
And you said that's a state road?
It is 34th and 33rd Street is state
And you
road.
got no chance of getting them to do any work on it?
I seriously doubt it, but I mean, yeah, you could put it on the
I mean,
list.
how
but
urgent is
they're
the-
below, what, 10 years out on their project list, so be 10 years.
For the state?
Yeah.
And I mean, I go over 34th Street. That's what they were talking about, the
Yeah.
one way, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of got to remember something. What kind of shape would you say it's in right now?
Poor. Rough. It's poor shape. So what I was gonna do is come through and put a scratch leveling course on it and come back and put a wearing course on it. So,
And that's your advice?
yeah. Also, 20th Street be the same way. It's deteriorated concrete. It's just too expensive to replace the concrete. There's a particular area up on 24th Street and 25th Street, on around between 8th and 10th Avenue. The concrete's in bad shape. Also put an overlay of asphalt on that, substantial savings. I give you a cost estimate and breakdown on both this on your old sheet. The question is, I guess what the statement I'm trying to make is, in the past, I've asked council to say, hey, tell me what roads you guys want done. I haven't got too much response in 26 years. I think they've one or two people in 26 years. So look at your drawings. I have budgeted $860,000 this year. The ones in red that I need to be done would be a cost estimate of $319,000. So about $500,000 left. I'd like for y'all to pick the roads. What one road you need done. Usually like I said, they're all color coded what needs to be done. Pick an area that it's in the bottom of the drawing. The orange areas is something that should be done next year, year after, but the green area is what you should really look at. So the green roads and the cost estimates are on the drawing. So if you want to pick a road, get with me. We'll try to do it.
Can we pick the road we live on?
You can pick any road you want, but
So I do have one more question
yeah.
about 34th Street. You said 143,000. So if you do it in asphalt, how often is that going to have to be resurfaced versus if you know, you kind of, and again, I don't realize, I'm just more curiosity.
Yeah, well, 28th Street I've done twice. 28th Street I've done twice since I've been here. So you're 13 years, 12, 13 years. Okay.
We have to completely.
You have to go back and replace the asphalt.
Concrete.
We did Crestview up off of around Woodland. We overlaid that concrete. It's held up really well. So if you fill the cracks in, seal it up right, then pave it, you get good use out of it. But asphalt doesn't last forever, especially the newest asphalt. Old asphalt lasts a lot longer for some reason. That's with concrete. You know, you've got WPA concrete streets and curbs in this city that are in great shape, but they used real concrete and real rock back in them days, and it's not like that anymore. A lot of fly ash in the concrete, it's not lasting. So,
Craig, can you explain? So just to make sure I'm reading this correctly. So, as you've broken things down, the area is the square footage. Then you've got the milling cost, paving cost, concrete, and the total is. Help me understand what I'm.
Okay.
You said you had a cost.
What were you looking at?
Well, like the 34th Street, Grand Central to the bridge.
Yeah. Okay. The green area. I'll give you two price quotes there.
Right.
To replace all the concrete is $2,030,000.
Okay.
To do an asphalt overlay, which is a 2-in-1, 2-inch base, 1-inch wearing, it's $143,260.
Okay.
Okay. Now that's rough cost. Okay. It might be a little higher, it might be a little lower.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I was.
Yeah. Like
reading this correctly. So if it doesn't have like two costs like that one, it must already be asphalt, and we're just talking about putting new asphalt down.
Correct.
Okay.
Some prices on here are overlays, and some pricing is milling, then overlaying. Okay. If it don't have curb and gutters on, I try to just do an overlay. It's not going. I have any issues with water runoff. I know Woodland, getting a lot of questions. Everybody wants Woodland paved. 3 years ago, we got a cost estimate on that from the engineers to fix that slip. And it come in at like $1.2 million to fix the slip and pave that street and add some drainage to it. So I'm more than happy to do it for you guys. I mean, it's great, but you just got to give them money. So I'm right now formally asking for additional money for this year if you all have it. So
Okay, you talked enough.
Yeah. I'd like to, if you look at the streets, to kind of give you an outlay of what we need to do, and it's unfortunately $850,000 doesn't go very far anymore when you're paving streets and concreting streets. Okay.
So what did you say the total was that you have left that's kind of up for discussion, I guess, for recommendation?
Around 500,000.
500. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the map too, by the way.
Good. Well, it should help you guys out what I'm looking at. Now, don't get me wrong. I did not put any roads on the west side of Grand Central from 30th Street up to 41st Street, 46th Street, or 41st Street. It's because the gas company is going to be in there, and we need to look at that next year. Okay, there's no sense paving a road and having a gas company come in and tear it up. And I try to leave out the roads that we hopefully have future water projects on also. Okay. So hopefully when we do the water projects, the water utility board will pay for the street repairs and upgrades. Okay. So if you all get with me, because I talked to the contractor, he'd like to start really quick within the next week or two. So get with me and we'll discuss it. If you want to, we can discuss it at council meeting and say these roads we all want to do. Then I'll turn him loose. Okay.
Thank you, Craig.
Now we'll take an extra $1 million if you have in your budget. Just
Thank you, Craig.
Gotta ask. All right. Thanks.
That concludes our agenda for this evening. Are there any council comments?
Yeah, just a quick one to kind of clarify. So, with everything going on at Neal Elementary School, just so folks don't think I'm just sitting up here not saying anything and ignoring what's going on, I work for Pickering Associates. So in order to not have any kind of conflict of interest with this project and with what's going on with the city of Vienna, I'm not going to comment on that project. And when it comes time to negotiating and voting on anything in that nature, I am going to recuse myself so that there's no opportunity for any conflict of interest with that project that's going on.
Thank you. There are no other council comments. I have two that I would like to make. Well, three, actually. First off, I would like to thank the Friends of Vienna for the outstanding 2 weekends with the rodeo and the concerts and the fireworks and the drone show. It was fantastic, and we had so many people in our town. It's great to show them what we have, and I know that some of our retailers experienced a 40% bump in sales based on the number of people that were here. So for me, that's a good indicator of you bring people in and you entertain them and give them a reason to come back, that it works. And so I received a posting this week that shows the top 10 cities, the top 10 best places to live in West Virginia. Number 1 was Cheat Lake. Number 2 was Bridgeport. Number 3 was Morgantown. Number 4 was Charleston. And number 5 was the great city of Vienna, West Virginia. Out of 230 cities in West Virginia, we're ranked the 5th best place to live in West Virginia. And so I'm very proud of everything that our city employees do, of how nice our town looks, the quality of our schools. Every school in the city of Vienna is a school of excellence. And I think we offer a lot to people. And the comment was made earlier about being positive and trying to work together. I believe Tony made that comment. A little positivity goes a long way, because everybody that rows the boat the same direction makes it go that much better. And so I have to make a comment. I'm sorry. I don't read Facebook. I just don't. But I know that there are some people out there who are posting things that are so wrong that I have to bring one of them to light. It was brought to my attention that someone made the comment that the city spent $112,000 on dirt for the rodeo. And that is absolutely not true in any shape or form. Last year when we had the rodeo, Jim Leach donated all the dirt for the rodeo. This year, Jimmy Harper donated 40 truckloads of dirt for the rodeo. There was not a dime of city money spent to buy dirt for the rodeo. So I just wish people would check their facts before they put that stuff out, because it's just not true. All right. With that, thank you all for coming. We appreciate your time. Meeting adjourned.